Arganissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today. Arganissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty.
Folks, welcome back to the iHealth channel, the Fit and Fab channel, all the channels, the NBC network, really, because today's topic can possibly be a theme for all. iHealth Radio, of course, and I'm your host, Hurricane H. New day, new show. Awesome topic today, a discussion that's going to benefit everyone watching and listening. A discussion about hope, about resilience, about determination, about willpower, about awareness, about entrepreneurship, about success. I mean, so we got a lot of stuff to unpack in a very short time with my guest today. And my guest today is an entrepreneur. He helps people really kind of be better in no time and do things differently to really maximize, output and as well as results and success. So with me, Adam Lucero. Adam, welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm excited to be here and appreciate that nice intro there.
Well, no, my pleasure. And Adam, as we're gonna learn, has an amazing story of literally survival, and I mean survival. I mean, it's just unbelievable when you hear about the story. You're probably like, "Whoa!" It's something that you hear and you watch probably in a movie, but you don't think about it in real life. But it can happen to anyone. Which is as crazy as it sounds. So Adam, first things first, let's talk about Adam. Who is Adam? A little bit of a background, and then let's get into the deep, dive into the story and what was the whole thing.
Yeah, sounds good. So basically, I'm all about performance and optimizing yourself so that you can accomplish more in life. As I always say, it's like your life is a reflection of you. And so if you want to change your life, you have to change yourself first. This is why you see people that are successful in all areas of their life. It doesn't matter what they do. Take a look at Elon Musk. Guy does $100 billion businesses on repeat. Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink. It's because of how he thinks, how he acts, and how he behaves, who he is on the subconscious level. So that's what I'm all about, is helping you become the person you have the potential to be so you conquer life. Now, I've always been pretty ambitious growing up. I bought candy at the 99-cent store in middle school, then would sell it at school, whatever it is, and, buy and sell things, starting businesses, whatever it may be. So I always knew I was going to be some sort of an entrepreneur. But yeah, my life really started when I got stabbed in the throat at a movie theater. And I know you're probably hearing that saying, what the hell is this guy talking about? So let me rewind a bit. Basically, I had just graduated Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and I accepted a sales job in Northern California. So 2 weeks before the job started, I was scrambling to get housing. So I went up there and stayed at my aunt's place, and I didn't really know anyone in the area. And she said, Adam, you have to be out of the house for 8 hours. So I said, okay, well, don't know anyone. I have to go kill some time. So I go to a movie theater by myself. It's a Wednesday, probably 1 p.m. or somewhere around there. Not many people in the theater, probably 20. Anyways, I get to choose whatever seat I want. I choose fourth row from the back and in the middle. Now, the movie starts, the lights dim. It's like a normal movie. You're sitting there looking at a screen, right? 5 minutes passes, 10 minutes passes. And then all of a sudden, I feel hard hit to my throat. And my initial reaction was dude, this guy hit me hard. I grew up with older brothers who used to hit me. And I was that was literally my initial reaction. This guy hit me hard. And so I stood up and I was dude, what the hell? Then I felt another punch to my arm and chest. And so I turn around and I push him. And as I push him, I feel cut on my wrist and ear. And instantly I knew I got stabbed. Those weren't punches. So I started yelling, I've been stabbed. I've been stabbed. The lights turn on and I see him start running down the stairs and running away. And I'm bleeding out. So this guy stabbed me in the throat with a chef knife. The ones that get bigger, closer to the handle. It went halfway through my throat. It went deep in my arm, and punctured my lung. So I'm bleeding out from multiple accounts. So I take off my shirt, wrap around my neck. I'm just holding the blood in. And then these two older women come running up and they're like, what should we do? And I tell them, just put pressure on my neck. So they're holding it down. And then I hear someone say, should we call 911? I lose it.
I'm sorry.
I lose it, bro. My only emotion at this time is just anger. And I'm just pissed off. I'm like, yeah, you should call 911. If you don't call them in this situation, when would you? Like, this is what it is designed for. And so paramedics get there and they start asking me all these questions. What's your name? What year is it? What's your mom's name? Who's present? Like, and I get it. They're making sure I'm conscious, aware, whatever. They have their reasons and I know it. But at the time, I'm just like so pissed off. I'm like, can you guys get to know me later? How about we deal with a more urgent situation here? Like, knife was in my throat, you know? And so I remember them saying, okay, let's get him up on the stretcher. And so they put me up on the stretcher and I feel all my wounds worse than the initial stabbing because now I don't have the adrenaline in me. And so they have one person in the front right, the stretcher, one back right, one front left, one back left, one person holding me down. So they start taking me down the stairs. And for every stair there was, I felt like I got stabbed in all those places like 3 times again because I didn't have the adrenaline in me. It was like so painful. I remember just holding myself, looking at the ceiling like this and like trying not to scream my guts out. Like I was like, it was the most excruciating pain I've ever endured and hopefully will ever endure. And I remember we get down outside and they open up the ambulance, they put me in, and I start to relax because I start thinking like, okay, the paramedics got me. They know what they're doing. I don't have to worry about myself. As soon as I get that thought, I feel a cold rush through my entire body. And it dawned on me, I lost a lot of blood. I could definitely die here. Now I see them come over with this oxygen mask. And I remember thinking, don't fall asleep. You're not supposed to fall asleep in this situation. They put that mask over my face. I'm knocked out in seconds, like whatever it was potent. And so I wake up 7 days later from an induced coma. I wake up, have all these tubes plugged in all over me, everywhere, like gnarly. And I was so weak and broken. It was like, I was really just pathetic. And I obviously had a reason, like it was a valid reason, right? I got stabbed, but I was in this pathetic state nonetheless, where first of all, I was 6 feet tall and like 130 pounds or so. So sticks and bone when I used to be like pretty jacked. And then besides that, I couldn't think clearly. Like it was like so hard to describe, but it felt like my cognitive function declined to that of a 4-year-old's. And I was always so exhausted. Like I remember even after getting to a point where I could eat normal food, which I couldn't do for a while, I would have to nap halfway through eating a meal because that exerted so much energy. You know, getting up to go to the bathroom, it wasn't like, oh, okay, I need to go to the bathroom. It was like, dude, I need to go to the bathroom right now. Hold on. Which was, by the way, me just getting to the edge of my bed and just freaking going like a few steps away. Like small little tasks like that were just so challenging. Everything in life was just difficult and hard. I literally felt like I was like disabled in a sense. And I remember when they asked me, like, all right, do you want to try going to use the bathroom? I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And so I get to the edge of my bed and my legs didn't work. And I remember just being so angered by this. Like I used to be a Division I track and cross country athlete. Now my legs don't even work. I can't even stand up. And so it was really at this point where like I was left asking myself, can I still accomplish all the goals I have in my life? Or is my potential destined to rot away with my ambitions? And so I ultimately chose to not let my life succumb to this level of mediocrity, to do whatever it took to build myself up again. So I spent the next couple months and even years studying evolution, biology, psychology to learn how to build myself up again, how to take action, how to do the things I know I needed to do, like my physical therapy, speech therapy, normal therapy, whatever it is. If I wasn't able to do those, I wasn't going to get my life on track. So the first thing I had to conquer is my mind. Started learning how the human mind works, started making all that progress, started learning what kind of workouts we can do to boost our energy levels, our mental alertness, and just day by day, week by week, month by month, started building myself up again. Within 1 year, I ran a 4:59 mile. I was picking up great weight in the gym. I was in a good place mentally. Fast forward another 5 or 6 years, and here I am. I run a business helping men kill procrastination so they conquer life. And yeah, essentially, that's my story.
Yeah, I wasn't kidding about, this is stuff that you watch in a horror movie, but you've described it, as, in a nutshell, but it's a lot of stuff. And so I just want to break down a few things. One
Yeah, go for it.
is, you know, this is the part where people have to be aware and never, just not be, you have to be mindful of every single place you are. It doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know what triggered this dude, and I hope that he got caught somehow. I'm sure there's footage of him leaving the scene there and all that, but really, someone just, I mean, it could be I mean, the only thing I can imagine is maybe a gangster type of initiation, or maybe someone who just, you robbed the wrong way potentially. I don't know. I don't know the story, so I mean, unless you want to expand on that, but really, you never know. This is happening randomly. People sometimes are randomly being attacked, for various reasons. As a matter of fact, yesterday I was watching the news. There's an Uber lady that got shot, or killed. With this dude, he just walked into her vehicle, put a gun to her head, and the rest is history. And you hear these stories all over the news, and you never know. Like, that could be you, could be someone and it's really unbelievable. That's the first part. So again, I guess the first message is, you were full of all the hopes and the ambition and the goals in life, and then here comes this moment where it could have been the end, right? And for many, that was because you were lucky, to still be here. But sometimes, I mean, the ones you described, for the most part, people die with less, and really, I mean, you can just go, but it's not time, and you were determined, meant to do more in this world, and you are doing it. But really, for our audiences, just take life for what it's worth, and be always aware, be on guard. I mean, don't let your guards down, as they say, literally. And whatever you are, especially in a dark place and whatever empty space, if someone doesn't look right, I mean, I don't know if in the movies we get all excited about the movie, you forget everything, right? You're into the scene. But that's one thing. The other thing is, I love what you said about, should we call 911? I mean, folks, I have this problem when I see videos of people being, under aggression or something, and just people are watching them and just filming, recording. I mean, really,
do something a little more helpful.
Yeah, you want to get a TikTok view, to get your own content, but you're not helping. I mean, sometimes it might help because it goes viral. People, there's that reaction. But the quickest reaction is 911, and just get the action going. Or if you can, potentially do something physically about it, but really, someone is bleeding, in front of you. You don't have to, unless you're a surgeon and a doctor right there, you can maneuver on them. That's the best way to do it. And the sooner, the better. So again, we are a health channel, and it's all about awareness and giving advice here. Please, 911. We're not experts, but they are the experts. And you mentioned something funny about, they were asking you about all these things. Now, obviously, they know their job. I mean, they do this. Trauma is their business. But again, sometimes, to your point, in your shoes at that time, all you want is to be in the hospital and hopefully being fixed. The minute for you there was like an hour a day. So psychologically speaking, you're not, seeing and feeling all that. Now, and I appreciate, I guess that's your consciousness now, talking about, like, well, you try to kind of break it down, like, and make sense of it later on, because, but really at the time, it's like, just take me off here and help. Right. So again, that's another thing that I wanted to just, I guess, take off from your experience. Then ultimately you woke up, and now your body, I mean, you were in a coma, your muscle, atrophy is there, your functions are not there, you're weak. I mean, obviously you're just on IV. That's not, your body's gonna, take a toll. I mean, that's all there is. And yeah, you're right. You got to rebuild everything. And again, luckily, and again, also with the loss of blood, that can also affect your brain and organs and everything. So those things are just critical. And being a coma, it's not. Listen, I haven't experienced it, but I've known people who have, and it's very difficult to come back from it. It takes time, where your speech, everything sometimes can be a little delayed, and it's not a fun experience. And frankly, it is unbelievable. And thank God that you're here. And but here's the message that you've just stated. I mean, and what the work you do today is to turn people to really maximize and optimize their life, and that's an important piece, because anyone watching or listening, everybody has hope for a better life and for grandiose, uh, success, and all these grandeurs, that you want to
Hmm.
have and achieve in life. But here's the thing, no one knows what can happen in a minute. We're here,
Hmm.
and the next minute can be a bad thing. And we've seen it throughout the pandemic, for example. We were
Hmm.
here, and all of a sudden, people were dying left and right for something they didn't expect. You get a earthquake, you get, some
Hmm.
disaster, you get a war. Things can happen, or you get just crime. Those things can are real, and unfortunately, they're real parts of our life. But your story is not only a story about not what to look for and to be aware of, but also about hope and determination, resilience, and really catching up, making the time. I mean, in no time, you didn't say, "Oh, my life is over." You were still the will that you had, and maybe because you're still young. I mean, that's the other part. When you're young, you have all that energy, and you're not going to give up that easy. And maybe someone at older age may have. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I think, well, as humans, when we face with that kind of extreme, experiences, you tend to do whatever it takes to come back. Now, the key here is not to give up, to have the
Hmm.
resilience, right? To be just like, yeah, just never give up. You got to
Hmm.
keep doing, and you're gonna do the right thing, and you've done it. I mean, it took you at least a year to get to that running back, in full force, and gymming and getting buffed up again.
Hmm.
But someone else can say, you know what, I can't, and then they stay weaker, and maybe then mentally they can be affected, and then the rest is
Hmm.
history. Because that's the other thing, it takes a lot of mental strength, to actually support that mission that you had. And again, kudos to you, man, because and I'm sure it was not easy. I mean, we talk about it sounds very, you know
Hmm.
just like, hey, one second to the other, and the time is like a movie, right?
Yeah.
10 years went by, like 10 years later. Well,
Hmm.
a year later is actually a long time when you are going through that pain and suffering and rehab. I mean, all that stuff was not easy, but
Hmm.
yet you did. And then you continue doing that, and then you started your business, which, by the way, that was your thing from day one. I mean, as a kid, you
Hmm.
said you were always entrepreneurial and trying to make a nice little transaction to make the money, and you did. But now let's talk about the biggest topic, which is, you said procrastination. Like, people are always procrastinating. They're just like, tomorrow is a good day. Maybe I'll get to it when I get to it. And those are things that a lot of us kind of like postpone things. And
Hmm.
you, again, your story clearly says you cannot postpone things. You got to do things. You got to achieve things. You got to build things, and you have no other choice. So now let's talk about when you did this and you got, out of the whole thing the first year. I know you kind of fast forwarded to today's and what you do. I mean, what was the next step, like you did, to rebuild your, I guess, your finances and your work, I guess,
Hmm.
protocols?
Yes, I mean, the job that I actually had accepted was holding the job for me. So they found out what happened and they were great. Like, they even donated to help me financially and they held the job for me. So after I started building myself up again, the thing that actually took the longest was more of my mental fortitude. Like, I just couldn't think as clearly. I did just my mental toughness was like, as weird as it sounds, because you'd think like after I just endured that and powered through, you'd have this crazy mental fortitude. But there was still something mentally that was really tough for me. Like, not maybe it was more mental fatigue. Like, I can think for like I can use like high powered thinking for like multiple hours on end. And then if I did, I'd be done for the rest of the day type of thing. So I really had to build up that mental stamina. I think that's essentially what I was looking forward to say. And yeah, once I finally got that going, I was getting back to normal swing of things, felt like I could function at a normal level again, I should say. Then that's when I went back and started that job and things are going great. Like, I was on track to get a promotion in like 3 months when normally it takes like a year or something. And I would have been making like six figures and multiple six figures probably within like another year of that. So it was like it's going super good. But I just found that when I went in that office, I did not like who I was. Like, my soul felt like it was literally being sucked out of me. And I know people say like, oh yeah, I hate working for people too. It's like, no, this is different. Like, I could not stand it. And so like, even though I was only working 20 to 30 hours a week on track to make a ton of money, especially at such an early age too, like I just felt like something wasn't right. And so I actually called my brother who was running a marketing business, and I asked him, I was like, hey man, like this job thing's not really working out for me. Do you need help with your business? Like, can I learn from you type of thing? And so quit my job, started working on my brother's business with him, and learned a lot about the entrepreneur skills. And this is probably one of the biggest things in my life that helped me become who I am today, because not only did he teach me like marketing or some aspects of marketing, entrepreneur, but like he invested into a bunch of mentors for me so that I could elevate myself. And a lot of the knowledge that I learned then made me into who I am now. And it's now lessons that I teach into my students as well. And so eventually, after like a year of working for him, I was like, hey man, I know you just spent all this time and energy training me up, but I kind of want to start my own business here. And he's like, damn. But he's like, I understand it. Like, and so he let me go start my own business. And yeah, the first 4 or 5 years were big struggles, like not making any money. I kid you not, I was probably working 12 to 14 hours per day. If I wasn't working on my business, I was reading books, I was listening to podcasts, I wasn't going out drinking with friends. Like I cut out everyone in my life almost. And like, I'm not saying anyone has to do that, but it definitely accelerated how quickly I grew and developed myself. And yeah, I think that was like a big part of the reason where I am today, where it's like, if something wasn't beneficial to the vision that I wanted, I didn't do it. A night out of drinking? No, it wasn't just the fact that it was going to cost me a few hours at night, but it was the next day I'm groggy. I'm not firing at full cylinders and able to like learn deeper into the knowledge that I want or improve my programs or whatever it may be. So I wasn't doing that. I didn't let my focus get distracted. If friends texted me, and like, again, I'm not saying I recommend this for everyone, but like I would text like once or twice, but then it's like, dude, I can't sit there texting all day with someone. I just don't have that luxury. Like I have other goals I need to put my attention onto, because wherever your attention goes, you go. And so I made a lot of sacrifices during those first 4 or 5 years. I was living in my brother's garage. After that, I moved into my mom's retirement facility. Literally 65 years and older is the age of every person in there. And then there was me living there because I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford rent. I couldn't even afford food. I would pay for my food by going deeper into debt. Every time I swipe my card to eat, oh, there we go. I'm deeper in debt. How am I paying this off? My business isn't making money. Like, and so, yeah, you have lots of negative thoughts. And that's the thing with people often complain about like entrepreneurs, like, oh, these big businesses should be paying everyone more. It's like, look, why should they? Because one, like when someone signs a contract, they know what they're signing up for. It's not like they're switching the terms. You agree to it, first of all. But second of all, that you didn't take all the risk. You didn't make all the sacrifices that the entrepreneur had to make. Why do you deserve the benefits? That's just simply entitlement right there. And so I know I'm sorry going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but this is why I just want to reloop this, because everyone goes, oh, we should be making more. He should be paying us better wages. It's like, look, if you want to make more, then get the skills that are going to be able to pay you more. Like, be responsible. Don't be a victim and sit there complaining about something that you agreed to, right? That's not helping you. That's not serving you towards the life you want. What is taking full responsibility. If you aren't happy with the money you're making, then go learn new skills, go get a new job, do whatever it takes. But sitting there complaining about something you agreed to is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. But yeah, getting back to what I'm going with the story is like, look, I made a lot of sacrifices to build the life that I want. And again, if you want to live a life that you don't have, you're going to have to sacrifice old behaviors. You're going to have to sacrifice a lot of the ways of being. You're going to have to sacrifice being lazy, complacent. And so that's just one of the things that people need to understand is like, look, in order to achieve what you haven't, you have to do what most people won't do.
Well, you've hit on a lot of very high, elements here. The first thing is that, you clearly you basically reported and gave the picture of a true entrepreneurship, because the fact of the matter is people see success, and that's all they see. They see where you are today. They don't see those long nights, the long hours, the doubt, the sacrifices, the debt, that you incur during the process. And the things that while they were having a good time, you weren't having a good time because you were building your dream. And that's the part that is a big difference between, where someone and you use the word entitlement. Unfortunately, it is part of our, today's culture. There's that
Culture.
that
Mhm.
that level of like, I'm owed this. Well, who says who, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody owes you nothing.
Yeah.
You need to actually pay your dues to actually get those things, right? And
Hmm.
unfortunately, some people may not realize that that's this, and it hits them the hard way. Unfortunately,
Hmm.
it was a very simple. You could have been just employed by anybody else, or your brother, or the company that actually. By the way, not all the companies will do what they did for you, and
Oh,
that's
they were a
actually a
great
great
company.
that's a great thing. I mean, you don't hear a lot of those stories, so that that merits actually to at least give it a highlight.
Hmm.
But really, you know what you wanted. You were determined. And by the way, your determination for life, or for just coming back and for rebuilding yourself, mentally and physically, that in itself is just the highest level of where we want to be as humans. And
Hmm.
really, if you want to succeed, that's really, it has to be in you. It's got to be that drive, and the motivation that you want to do more. And but when you cling to life, you were like, really, I want to do this. And of course, there are a set of things that happen, but that's exactly what you did also here in the business world, is that you knew exactly what you wanted to achieve. Your personality always was not a follower or an employee. It was more
Hmm.
of an entrepreneur, someone that's going to create and do more and potentially create opportunities. That's the other thing. An
Hmm.
entrepreneur creates opportunities of millions and thousands
Hmm.
of people that otherwise would not be. I mean, a lot of us, when we are working, we're working for somebody's, you know, dream
Business.
or
Yeah.
whatever, or business. But guess what? They create the opportunity for us, and
Hmm.
I think Jeff Bezos, kind of like I was watching a clip on his, one of the talk shows, and he had said that, the company is making billions. He's making just a small percentage, and he made, billions for others, and
Hmm.
and just in a nutshell. And so that's what it is. Yes, he is making, the fruits of
Hmm.
his work,
Labor.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but then there's millions, if not billions of people, well, not billions, but millions of people out there are really benefiting from his work
Hmm.
and what he created. And a lot of people are being lucrative and making some real, revenue, whether through a stock or through the work and whatever. And people,
Hmm.
families are being open with that. So you have to realize that. And you're right. By the way, what you stated there is the truth, and sometimes it hurts, and we gotta face it. You know,
Hmm.
we can't be sour about like why people are succeeding, because we see them. Like, when you were not at the party, where you were not drinking, where you were sleeping, to your point, in a senior, housing,
Hmm.
by yourself, which it was probably not as fun an experience for someone who's young. Well, there's nothing wrong with senior housing, folks. It's fun too, but you are not going to be the best fit in there, because you're just
Yeah,
not
I'm
going to
in
be
my
able to do it.
20s. I'm not trying to live in a retirement facility. You kidding me right now? It's
Uh,
a slap
uh,
in the face.
but you did, and you know what?
Hmm.
That's the thing. Like, you endured all that for one reason, and one reason only, is that you were not going to give up on your dream, no matter what it took, no matter how long. And you did. You slept in a garage. You did all the stuff. And if you look at, you mentioned Elon Musk and all the stuff, you go back to all these top notch folks that have made it, and changed the world in a way. They all have similar stories where they started, in a garage or started somewhere. Yeah,
Hmm.
some of them had more money than others, but the story is still the same in terms of sacrificing the timing. Some
Hmm.
people had just better resources than others. But the fact is, it's still the only thing that you might not always have, even if you have money. You still got to put some time, sweat, effort, lack of sleep, sacrifice. You're not just bullshitting on the phone, or just texting and doing all kind of
Hmm.
stuff unnecessarily. You're not wasting hours getting wasted, literally,
Hmm.
out there. You are developing yourself, and that's the other word that you used. I try to develop my skills, and but you
Hmm.
use that a couple of times, where for folks, if you're trying to get more money, well, you had to develop your skills to go to the next level and next level. Even as an employee,
Hmm.
I've been in corporate for many years, and that's how I got myself into the highest potential, level that I was at, is by going through building my own skills and learning more. I was always absorbing, learning to get
Hmm.
me to become better at what I did, until I became, one of the top of what I did, right?
Hmm.
And so that's really what it is. But you have to do that. If you don't, you don't do anything, you don't change anything, you expect a change in everything and the outcome,
Happens.
that's not going to happen.
Yep.
you know, and so thank you for breaking that up. But this is a big piece of I think where we sit today, is
Hmm.
people are easily looking at everybody else's success, but they're not comparing. And by the way, this is not about comparing, like, he or she are better than me. It doesn't matter. You don't have. If you're content with what you have, that's okay. But if you're content, you can't complain.
Mm-hmm.
You
That
see,
means you're
those
not
two.
content.
Yeah, exactly. If you're complaining, that means you're not content. So if you're content, everything is cool, right? I'm happy with my life the way it is. I'm cool. I'm going by my life. I don't care. I do my job. I come home, relax, get my beer, whatever, coffee, whatever your beverage of preference, and you chilling. You're watching movies. That's cool too. But again, don't come in and say like, why these guys? These guys are working their butts off. I mean, they're really doing their thing day in, day out. I mean, 7 days a week. I know. I mean, I'm in your shoes. I mean, I'm working like literally three jobs at the same time. They're all my stuff. I'm building my things. I'm sacrificing a lot of stuff, but I know the same formula for everyone. You sacrifice a year, 2, 3, 4, then you live happy after that. Now, maybe not happy, but you live with whatever, the dream that you've developed. I mean, happy, that's still subject to a lot of things. I mean, you can have all the money then and still not be happy. That's a different story. But at least, now you don't have to worry about the financial piece of it and things like that. You worry about other things. And there's always a risk. That's the other thing. There is a risk. If you're going into business, you know that it's going to cost. There's going to be that. There's going to be a lot of stuff. And, it's either there's a point where you're going to start deciding, am I in? Am I going to continue? Or am I going to stop here? And that's really what makes a difference. Many people give up too soon and then they lose everything. And therefore now, and then they just basically inhibit it. They don't do it anymore. You don't give up. I mean, that's the only, for me, that's what I believe in. Once you're in it, it's just no coming back. It's forward forever. You just keep going and building and tweaking. And yes, whatever I need to do to keep going in my path, I'm going to do it. And you did that. And you're true, we're talking to a live success here that actually made that happen. Now, not only did all this, so Adam, you actually went to the next level. Now you've made your own, what part of what you do now is to help others be just like that and develop that same system so they can do the success formula. So let's talk about now that work, the job that you do, how you help people really convert themselves into becoming just like you. And when I say just like you, just like an entrepreneur mind.
Yeah. So we can get into it. So I mean, it really boils down to the first thing is like, there's a reason why everyone that's listening to this, or almost everyone here, consciously knows what they need to do, but the issue is they fail to consistently do it, right? You need to go work out. You should be eating healthy. You should be hammering out everything on your to-do list, going to bed early, but you just fail to consistently do it. And again, that's because you're using your conscious mind, but 95% of your actions are derived subconsciously. The good examples I like using for this is, look, you've probably had times where you're driving and you zone out for 5 or 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden, you just magically appear at your destination with no conscious recall of how you got there. You're like, what the hell? Like, I don't remember any of that. That's because your subconscious mind took over. I'm also willing to bet that when you woke up this morning, you didn't think about which hand you're going to use to lift the sheets off your body, which foot you were going to land on first, where you were going to step next, which fork you were going to grab. It all happened subconsciously. And so, again, this is why everyone in their New Year's resolutions, 95% of them fail to maintain it after 3 weeks. Is because, again, they're using their conscious mind declaring what they're going to do, but then their subconscious mind battles it. So both parts of the brain are battling each other. Make progress for a few days. You feel fantastic about yourself before you fall back into your old self-sabotaging and procrastinating patterns again. So basically, our whole methodology is getting your subconscious mind to work with your conscious mind so that when you tell yourself, tomorrow, I'm going to hit the gym, I'm going to cook these healthy meals, and I'm going to do everything that's going to grow my business, you actually do it and you feel excited to do it. Now, I'm not going to lie, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. You're not always going to feel excited, but you'll have that state more often. And then the most important part is, even on those days where you don't feel excited, you still power through because we're all human. We're creatures of emotion. It goes up and down like a roller coaster. And if you let your emotions dictate your actions, you're done for. You are absolutely done for. And you can likely look back at your own life and see how that's been panning out for you, right? And so ultimately, that's what our program helps people do. And I always say it's stepping into your full power. So again, typically when people come to us, they have resistance to taking action. They have these nagging internal battles. They constantly make excuses and rationalize why they shouldn't do these things, even though deep down they know it's a lie. And so we just get them to step into their power. Because I always say, it's like, look, I can't put in the work for you. No one can but you. If you want to change your life, you have to be the one that's going to change your actions. And there's no way around it. All I can do is hand you a system that's going to make it easier, going to deliver the quicker results and more profound results. But at the end of the day, you have to be at a point where you're willing to take that action and commit to this process or commit to changing your life. And so, again, a part of that's going to be we set up incentives, structures, and systems to help motivate you to take action. And so a good story I have for this is like, I remember when I was in middle school, I was like a little shit, like always talking in class. Like I just hated school in general. So I'd always distract the class clown, kind of whatever, just did not want to pay attention. And so I remember my teacher being like, okay, Adam, I'll give you a piece of candy at the end of the day if you behave good and you don't disrupt the class. So, first few days, getting my candy every day, I was quiet. Then I started getting bored. I was like, whatever, I don't care about the candy. Started going back into my old patterns and ruts. And so she was like, okay, we're going to have a different approach here. If you continue this behavior, you're going to the principal's office. And I was scared of that back then. And so guess what happened? For the rest of the year, on my best behavior, didn't fall back into my self-sabotaging behaviors again. And so it dawned on me. I was like, our actions are heavily impaired based upon the consequences of our actions. So again, we set up systems and structures like this to help nudge our clients in the right direction. But the biggest thing is we get them to switch how their train of thought, their thinking, so that they feel excited for this change. And so we have students that come in here and literally within the first week, it's like, boom, they're a new person and they're just executing, doing everything they know they should be doing. And like, I'm very, very hands off. Usually that's not how it goes. And usually it takes 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or 6 weeks, somewhere in that territory. But ultimately that's what I do is like, I pretty much just give people the system that helps them step into their power so that they can accomplish more, and then give them that clear roadmap and create structure in their day-to-day that aligns with their end goals. Because if every action you take aligns with your end goals, you'll inevitably get there. It's simply a matter of when. That's the point of what you were talking about earlier. Like, no matter what, I'm not going back. It's like, yeah, every action you took aligned with that vision that you wanted, and eventually you got there. It's literally impossible not to, as long as you keep taking actions that align with your end goal.
Well, thank you so much. I'm listening to you and I'm absorbing as well. But you touch on some very, very simple things that people know. As you said, everybody knows. We all know what we want in life. Mm-hmm. We all know. And by the way, I think everybody wants more. Mm-hmm. I think it's nature, human nature. We never settle for what we have. We want what other people have. And we're always looking to have the better car, the better house and stuff. And some people may disagree with us and say, you know what, I'm good with what I have. And by the way, if you're at that level, you actually are better than most of the people, because that's the highest level of potentially accepting a life and just being who you are. But in general, the idea is that we are materialistic, we're capitalists, we want more. Mm-hmm. But we want it at the easy way. We don't want it with the work. We want it just to be handed pretty much. And the easier it becomes, that's how we are. And one of the ways we look at it is like, I wake up, I go to work, I get paid, I get a check, I'm cool. Right. Mm-hmm. And then I just pay my bills, and then that cycle goes on, and then I'm paid to a paycheck. And that's one way to do it. It's cool. And then when people are faced with challenges, or in life, there's like, well, I can't because I don't have time. I can't because maybe I don't have the skills. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to learn something. I'm too old. I'm this and that. We can find every single potential excuse why we can't do things. And that's really, I think, the biggest problem. Mm-hmm. And it's really a mindset. Instead of thinking about every reason why we cannot, we can think about every reason why we can't. And that's just a shift. If you shift your mind to that, then things will start, manifest in a different way. You hit it on the money about the subconscious. I just did a show literally a couple of weeks back about the mindset, right? Not mindset, about the actual subconscious. And actually, the guy is a hypnotherapist, and he is a common guest, on the network. And it's really that it's in your head, and everything works there. Your subconscious rules, 100%. And if you can kind of almost not trick your subconscious, but really program your subconscious. Well, I mean, yeah, train, but really like put it like into a programming. It's gonna pick up, and if you keep giving the affirmations and building on that, it will continue. And I love what you said, is that as long as it's aligned and you don't give up, you're going to continue there and things are going to happen. It's funny. There's no coincidence in this world. When you start doing something, things are going to fall in your way. And you'll be like, wow, if I didn't this move created that move, and the move created this opportunity, this contact, and voila, I'm here. And you look
things
back
fall
like,
into place.
They all fall in, right? And but if you don't make the move, it's all starting with that first step, right? You got to keep doing, and the step, the second, the third, the fourth, and you keep going. You have to have the stamina. You mentioned the keyword earlier, stamina. The stamina is everything, right? You got to pace yourself and have that cadence, to get to the next level. But you just cannot give up. I love your work is really, and you mentioned some people come in and in no time they can just be readjusted because it's just, you have the means, you already developed the process and the tools to give them the guidance to really reset. And by the way, I think it doesn't hurt us to actually learn something new to help us out. Sometimes the ego gets in the way.
Oh,
I don't want to learn from anyone. I got this. Well, is it working?
Yeah.
If it is, cool. I mean, that's okay.
But people always say, I'll figure it out by myself. I'm like, okay, how long have you been telling yourself that? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? Why not just pay someone to help you speed up and get the results you want in like 2 months? And then, the missed opportunity cost is huge,
Well, so let's talk about that. Many people, they may have the doubt. What would you do different? I think I can figure out what you're doing. What would you different? How would you benefit me? I think that's a big question. That's probably where people get stuck when they think mentor or coach and stuff. It's like, what can you do for me? It is known that it's working. Obviously, I have clients and people are seeing the results. But I think a lot of people is it worth the investment? Is it worth my time? What can you possibly give me different that I don't know? I think that's a big question that potentially that people can inhibit people from making moves because they're relying on their limited knowledge. And we all have limited knowledge, by the way, folks. I don't care how much knowledge you have. There's always someone's going to have more knowledge, and there's always knowledge to be sought. So if you're thinking that you're at the max, the newsflash, we're never going to get there. It's just a fact of life. We're never going to have the ultimate knowledge. And even if you're top notch in your type of field, well, there's a lot of other areas where you could be, but you're not knowing all. You just knowing your stuff, right? You're aligned with what you know. But if you want a full knowledge, I think no one has that on earth, as a humans. But really, that's the concept. But so Adam, what would you tell to people that today, if you're stuck and there's a formula, here's why you should, as opposed to here's why you shouldn't? Because I think the problem is people think that I don't need you, Adam. I can do what you did. And maybe I'm going to endure just like you 3-4 years and I'll figure out myself.
Yeah.
So what would you tell them?
So first of all, I would say you have to go tap into the emotion. Humans are creatures of emotion. We rationalize with logic. You see, we always like to think we're logical, but we aren't. And so the good example is this is why buy one, get one free deals are so potent, because you want that second candy bar. You want that second pair of shorts. And then it gives you an easy way to rationalize it. We act with our emotions, rationalize with logic, right? And so what I always say is there's so many different ways we could go about persuading someone. And look, persuasion can be good or bad depending on how you use it. I persuade people to change their lives. It's good, right? And so you can persuade people by, again, the biggest thing is people often have this regret of who they've become or what their life looks like. And every single day they're beating themselves up with this negative self-talk. I'm a piece of shit, or I'm lazy, or whatever it is. And every single day they're just haunted by themselves, their mind, because of their actions, the consequences of their actions, essentially. And the thing is, every single day that you wait, those feelings are going to grow like a tumor. In fact, if you're listening to this, you've probably experienced this in the past 3 months. Every single day it gets worse and worse. And then the second part to that is every single day that you wait, it's going to be harder to change your actions. We're creatures of habit. And so you're just getting yourself cemented deeper into these self-sabotaging habits that aren't serving you towards a better life. And so that's the first thing I'll say is look, how much better of a life would you have if you had peace of mind and you had confidence in yourself because you were crushing it every day? That's already worth the investment, let alone our clients make 50,000. Some of our clients make up to 50,000, 60,000 per month within months of working with us because of the transformation. So it's you really can't afford not to do this, no matter what angle you're thinking about this from, whether it's financial. You're going to make more money once you become more empowered. You're going to have more peace of mind and confidence in yourself, which brings you more daily happiness and fulfillment. And so it's really just getting them to realize what's going to happen in their life if they don't change the actions. and then how much more misery and pain they're going to have ultimately is the way I tend to go about it.
Adam, you mentioned the word habits, and I think humans, we are creatures of habits, as we say, and we develop those just routine habits, and we get caught with them, and they become the nature, the norm, right? And really switching, or shifting, everything around new habits, different practices, is usually the different part. I mean, again, as we have that old expression, you can't teach a dog I forgot what it says, like the old tricks to a dog, something like that. You can't teach a new trick to to dogs, right? Or some old dogs. But so the concept is that we are so comfortable. I think that's the thing. The zone that we get is the comfort zone, and we're cool about it. Yet we're not happy about everything else. We just peachy. We're like, I'm okay. It's, by the way, folks, it's the word okay is really maybe not okay. It's, are you good or you're not good? At least that's how I look at it. It's like, okay is not cutting the mustard here. I need a tangible outcome, yes or no. And if you start looking into those terms, it makes a difference. Now, you do help people develop those new habits. You do also give them the process, the steps to actually get there. How long does that someone starting your program, how long will a person start seeing results, or at least, in a very clear, shift from where they were to where they need to be?
Yeah, gotcha. So essentially, we've had clients, and people don't even believe me when I say this. In the amount of times people even say, like, if your client results are true and real, I'm like, they are. But anyways, like, we've literally had clients come in there and days, boom, new person, never look back. Now, usually it takes around like 15 days, like 3 weeks is usually when they start seeing some change. Like, oh, I'm starting to do things I normally wouldn't do. I feel less resistance. I'm just naturally I'm working longer in my hours. I'm doing some of the boring or hard work, the challenging work, or whatever it is. But ultimately, we work with you until about, like, I'd say the vast majority of them get it in like 30 to 45 days. And then that's when they feel more resistance to not doing the things they need to do than to do it. And so this is ultimately when they win, because now they have this positive momentum. The habits are starting to be formed a little bit harder. There's less resistance, and they pretty much don't need my help at this point. But ultimately, it's around 60 days is usually when everything becomes second nature, automatic behavior, and you win. But yeah, I mean, people start noticing results sometimes in days, sometimes in weeks. And other times it is a little bit longer. We've had clients where it takes up to 60 days for them to really understand the depth of the lessons we speak of and to really embody them. But ultimately, yeah, it can happen pretty quick. Like, in the grand scheme of things, 2 months is not very long, and that's like the longest it usually takes.
Well, that's actually impressive, and thank you for breaking that out. And it's important to realize that you are giving them the tools that they eventually going to take the action on, and that's the you mentioned before, that no matter what you give people, it's a matter of applying. Because I mean, I can, that's the other thing, applying and moving forward. Don't take them for a temporary phase and then just again put them to the side. You got to
make sure it lasts forever.
Yeah, I mean, you have to develop, like, basically you have to elevate and scale up over and over and over. You can't go backwards, and you cannot drop out. Once you have it. Now, so a typical program, Adam, is a couple months.
Yeah, I'd say typically. So I work with you until you get the results. My whole intent is I deliver results, like, totally. I'll work with you. If it matters if it's even 3 years, 5 years, I would still be there working for you. Granted, it's never going to take that long, but just to goes to show, like, I work with you until you get the results you want. We make sure you never fall back into your self-sabotaging patterns again, because to your note, people sometimes have good weeks, good days, or whatever, even a few weeks sometimes, but then they fall back. And so we want to make sure everything becomes a second nature, because when that happens, that's when you produce winning results in all areas of your life.
So what is the name of the program, Adam, and how can people get to your program?
So we call it the 30-day Conqueror Transformation, because ultimately we're transforming you into a conqueror who takes what they want in life. Don't sit there and wait for things to happen. You seize what you want. You have to take action for it. Now, yeah, if you wanted to learn more about it, you want to see our case studies, whatever, you can go to superhumanceo.com. Or you can go to my Instagram and message me. My Instagram's Adam Lucero1. So Lucero, and then the number 1, Adam Lucero 1.
I love that. I mean, superhuman
CEO.
I like it. Well, I mean, we're supposed to be the CEOs of our lives, right? I mean, so you just got to get to that level and run, but 30 days, it's pretty powerful. I mean, to really see transformation. I mean, we hear about that in physical stuff, like in terms of fitness, like a 30-day transformation program.
Yeah,
You're
but
gonna
to get
lose
something
this.
that's
Yeah, but and you can still see the results if you actually apply. But then you're talking about a full transformation in terms of life habits and business habits.
Our program's transformational right from the get-go. We drill it into you, like, and I give you the daily accountability. We have 24/7 text support, but I get you to step into your power right from when you join the program. I'm like, look, dude, I'm handing you the formula, but it's up to you. And I tell you, like, if you don't complete this task on time, you're not going to get the results. And then we have consequences attached. And so people really start embodying the person they need to or want to become right from the get-go. And so that's why the people get results so quickly. It's because it's transformational. We're forcing you to take action and become that person right from the get-go. Whereas a lot of other programs, they're like, oh, here's some mindset information, and it doesn't really seep in or doesn't resonate or they don't apply it or whatever. It's like, that isn't an option in ours. Like, I literally kick you out of the program if you're not executing, because I'm like, look, I'm not going to waste my time and energy if you're not serious about this. Like, so that energy I'm using towards you could be used towards someone else. And if you're not going to do what's necessary, we're going to be done,
Might affect your success rate because you don't want you want all cases successful.
We have a very high success rate because of that.
Exactly, and also you are holding people accountable, period and out, and that's the biggest part. And sometimes, again, we talked about comfort, but accountability is the other piece where people lack. Sometimes they're just not accountable to anything with themselves primarily. I know we come in, we had a very hard stop today. I would like to spend more time, but I just want to, Adam, thank you so much for really bringing, the feed here to us, and the information. And you are a resource, and hopefully people watching and listening that can get hold of you and potentially if they see a need, and I think there's always a need to improve. And so, maybe again, I'll have the link in the description of the show so people can connect with you directly. I'm assuming you do this worldwide, and anybody that has connection internet that can get to you via Zoom. So Adam, thank you so much for really being with us. Any word that you want, or a couple words you want to close the show with today?
You create your habits, then your habits create your life.
You got to patent that one, man.
I think I heard someone else say it, if I'm being honest. I don't know.
Trademark, maybe, I don't know. But hey, listen, trademark, right? Just go the first one, right?
yeah, first one to trademark. That's all that matters.
It. All right, Adam, thank you so much. And folks, I hope that you've enjoyed this particular show. I mean, it's just a tremendous story of achievement and success and really, determination. We'll be talking soon. Another show, another guest, another great topic. I'm Hurricane H. We'll be talking soon. Bye for now.